ready?
I have it on, I have it on the
I'd like to call this meeting of Timberville County Council order, March 9, 2021. Please join me in pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, council, everyone received a copy of the minutes in your packet. Are there any questions for Melinda, our AC, and the chief will be up here in a little bit, on anything that's noted in the town minutes of February 9th? If not, I need a motion.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, motion and properly seconded. Any further discussion? Go around the room.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Clarence?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Thank you all. You have a copy of Melinda's treasurer's report. Any questions for her on the treasurer's report or any of the zoning questions? I had a question on what 124 Belvedere, and that's, what's that subdivision called, AC?
Fort Run.
What's it?
Fort Run.
Fort Run, it's just the next house on that subdivision. Any questions for Melinda on the treasurer's report? Okay, keep on moving. You have a copy of your bills for payment. I have one question on the audit. What were we paying before on audit? Is this roughly the same?
It's pretty
It's
close to the
close.
same. I think it was 10,000 and 10,600 or something like that.
Yeah.
What it was previously for each of those accounts.
Okay,
Maybe.
so it didn't change much from what we were
No,
paying.
not much at all.
No.
Okay. Anyone else have any other questions on the bills for payment? Okay, I need a motion to pay the bills.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Clarence. I have a second.
Second.
Okay, thank you, Sarah. We'll go around the room.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Please, is Chief gonna join us?
As far as I know, he was.
Okay, we'll pass the chief right now till he comes up. We had a meeting on just to get some more information about the cameras in a school zone. We provide a packet by the representative for us to review. The sad thing about it was on a 5 days, September 20th through September 26th, from 7 to 4 p.m., there were 396 speeders on that road, which shocked me. He says that's not very high, but it's still pretty high to me. Basically 10% of the people who travel down that road during the school zone are speeding 11 miles an hour above, which is shocking to me. Some of them are speeding 21 miles an hour plus. So he gave us our packet to review. We've asked him to go ahead and give us a proposal. And we'll review that once we get that from him. I just updated on our meeting. Chief, you got anything else to add today?
No, I just reiterated to Greg that obviously the council's interested in moving forward. We just like feedback from them on what their proposal would be, and they have to figure out whether or not they're, pardon me, gonna need to put in infrastructure like flashing lights, and so it'll take a little time to develop, but they'll get back with some kind of proposal.
And we're still learning about it. We're not to that point yet, but we learned today that there's plenty of advance warning, and actually the first 30 days they send out warning tickets to people so they get used to the fact that you really should slow down in the school zone.
So 30 days of high saturation advertisement, let everybody know that it's coming, and then 30 days of warning.
Yeah. What's that?
I can't talk, I gotta go get a water.
Okay. Are you done?
Yes, for now.
Okay. That's all you can do. Public Works, AC.
We're going to add that to the list. Here's the door fixed.
Hey, Chris.
The town staff and our engineer will be meeting with some of the property owners next week to discuss the proposed water line location for the Spar Mine water line project. just to make sure that they're aware of the location of where the water line's proposed to go. There are some trees that will have to come out if it stays in the location where they already have it planned. And we just want to make sure that they don't have any concerns, or we can answer any questions that they might have before we proceed any further and get that ironed out. We do have a little bit of a time crunch to try to get, because of the way the permitting is done for that project, there are certain species, bats particularly, that roost in those trees. And we have to, any of the trees that we need to take out, we need to take out before a certain date so we don't disrupt their habitat while they're active and while they're roosting. I've been working with Quentin on the issue of the drop boxes up at the old Mason Motors lot. The boxes were posted earlier this week, and notice was sent to the property owner as a violation of the nuisance ordinance. They're also in violation of the business license ordinance because they don't have a business license to operate those there. And it has become quite a nuisance issue. It started off okay, people would actually put stuff in the boxes, then the boxes get too full. People now lay stuff out all over the ground, people rummage through it, and then it blows all over creation. So I've tried contacting the company at the number that's listed on those boxes and have yet to get a return phone call. So we had to take the next step, and that was sitting in a letter of violation of the nuisance ordinance.
And that's a for-profit business, correct?
All the information we have is that it's for profit.
Yeah, it's not like Mercy House or Salvation Army. That's a for-profit
Yes.
business. They sell that clothing or whatever they receive. Okay.
If the issue's not corrected, which is basically the boxes being removed within 5 days of when they receive their letter, then the town will have those boxes removed and some type of lien placed against the property, or so that the town can recoup its costs. The town staff also met with Quentin earlier this week to discuss our current billing procedures and how it will be adjusted as we go forward to ensure we are in compliance with the Code of Virginia. Had a few things come to light, and we're getting to that point now where budget time, it often changes with the rates and stuff, so we want to make sure we get everything in order so that any changes that need to be made can all be made at the same time.
Utility billing.
Utility billing.
Yeah.
What did I say?
You just said billing, but.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, utility billing, yes, thank you. We experienced fraudulent activity with our bank account this past week when a check was forged to resemble a town-issued check. Melinda worked with the bank and has added some additional security measures to help protect against further issues like this. The check that was drawn on our account was in the amount of $4,650. Fortunately, we were reimbursed for the full amount. And I sent out a notice to all the other towns that what had happened, and some of them said that they'd heard of some other instances where that's happened with other towns. We were fortunate, apparently it happened to Stafford at some point, and they only got about half of their money back. So we were very fortunate, and hopefully the new procedures that Melinda and the bank have come up with will help to prevent that and make sure. Just, it's very frustrating when something like that happens. It's frustrating, you know, as a business. It gets frustrating as a personal account or whatever too. The March Planning Commission meeting has been moved back a week this month to Thursday, March 23rd, to accommodate all the schedules, so that the commission can meet with Quentin to discuss our extensive review and update to the land development regulations. So once we get that done, we'll send out all of that information to the council and hopefully have that on next month's agenda for a public hearing. We issued our first short-term rental license, and that's located on Church Street. So we could potentially see revenue coming in from that because of the taxes that are associated with that if they rent the place. So. And just a reminder that the Timberville hosted Rails to Trails community meeting will take place this Saturday, March 11th at the Plainview District Community Center beginning at 9 a.m. And so a lot of information should be given out there. Cecilia went to, attended the Broadway meeting, and she said it was packed. I think they had 170 people that were there.
That's what she said.
And she said there's a lot of good information. There'll be stations set up. The mayor will do a welcome. I'll give a little bit of history of the trail, and then the Alliance will come in and they'll give more information, more detailed information on it as to how it's going to look. And then have stations set up so that people and tenants can go around and stop and say, this is what I would like to see, in Timberville at the trailheads, or what the trail should look like through Timberville, just to get the public input on it, and will help with the design of the trail, the way I understand it. And that is all I have for Public Works.
And you see, he was talking about people are coming up with some really good ideas of things they'd like to see. It is, what time
I've
is
got
officially?
7:12, so we have to wait a few minutes.
Okay. Anyone else have anything else on Public Works? So, what do you want to move down to?
Anybody
Let's
any
see.
questions for Chris since he's here tonight? Throw him on the spot. You got a copy of his report, so.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. Were you able to work on the boat launch anymore, or has it been?
Calls for report, Tuesday.
Good. Cool.
Wednesday. So, yeah, so tomorrow, depending on the weather, we'll tear the forms off tomorrow, Monday.
We'll be there right in time for kayak season.
Yeah, hopefully start pouring steps next week.
Cool.
Pouring them next week, weather permitting.
Now, for that, while we're talking about it, do we get, because we went through the process, do we get added to the, I guess, DNRs,
DCRs.
whichever it is?
Yeah.
That when you
Kellen's
look,
with DNR.
no, I thought it was the Department of Natural.
No, Department of Conservation and Recreation.
That, do we get added to that when people look up a boat launch kind
We'll
of
have to
thing?
look at it and see, because what they had told us before was that you have to be within, I think it was 8 miles of the next closest one, and we would have to see where the next closest one is to see if it's,
Because
because they like to link them together so you can, I don't know why 8 miles is the magic number, but that's what they do, so.
DWR, that's what it is. I had that wrong. But yeah, it'd be nice if we get on there because there's very little on this side of the, on this side of it.
Right.
If you look on the South Fork, there's tons of them, but there's very few on this side. It'd be nice to get on there.
Right.
Okay, so I still have myself 1 minute.
Yep. You can do business in industry if you
Okay, you got something for business and industry?
want. No.
Well, that didn't help much.
Kill a couple seconds. Does anybody have any questions on anything? We do have had some calls coming in about different properties. Mayor passed along a phone number to me today about someone who may potentially be interested in vacant property here in town.
Mhm.
So we're gonna start calling, I'll call them back and wait to hear from some of the others. We still,
May have some stuff for you guys to look into on that property because it may require some kind of different zoning or conditional use
conditional
type
use
permit.
potentially,
But it's very exciting.
Yes. See, and they got us to 7:15.
We're good. We're good. Okay, AC, you want to start with the comprehensive, or we're going to talk about comprehensive plan, then I'll open up the public comment.
Certainly. So it's been multiple years in the making. I want to thank the Planning Commission, former Planning Commission members, Central Shenandoah Planning District Commission for all the work that they've done on the review and update of the comprehensive plan. The transportation section was by far probably the most intense part of it, and thankfully the PDC was able to help us out on that. I believe they had a grant that helped to cover the costs associated with that part of it. Comprehensive plan acts as a guide when the Planning Commission and Town Council makes decisions about the town. If we have a development that wants to come in, we'll pull out the comprehensive plan, look at those future land use maps and say, is that what we're looking at? Does that fit within what we were thinking? It's not law like the land development regulations are, but it is there to act as a guide. Unfortunately, I think a lot of times, I know we're guilty of it. A lot of times we don't rely on that heavily enough as a guide or pull it off the shelf often enough as a guide. Something that hopefully by having this update and making it very current, that we can start using that more and kind of holding things up to that is see if it's where we want to go. Hopefully everybody had a chance to read it. If you tried to read it at bedtime, it probably took multiple nights to get through it. It's not overly exciting material, but I felt like the Planning Commission did a fabulous job of putting time and thought into the discussions and where they wanted to see, what they wanted the document to look like, and I think it turned out very nice. I did go through the one that I had originally posted, had some errors, Don pointed them out, so it was just different things that hadn't been updated, so I went back through and
Few little
made
number
it current
things.
stuff. It was a couple things that had been left over from the previous plan as far as the numbers, census numbers, things like that, that I hadn't updated from the 2000 to 2010 years. I updated in the 2010, 2020. The other thing with this comp plan, it made it extremely difficult as far as the population part goes, because the 2010 or 2020 census was managed in a completely different way. The information was managed in a completely different way than what it had been done previously. And so there was a very large margin of error on the numbers that they received back, the data we received back for the 2020 census. So we did, when we went through that, trying to update those numbers, I made notes in there saying, you know, because of the erroneous reporting of the 2020 census, that we did the best we could to extrapolate that information and kind of project out what we think it would be. If you use the 2020 census data as it was presented, there were certain areas where we went down, which there's no way we went down because we had more houses built, and I think that was one of the areas where it was like the housing stock decreased. No, nothing. We only had one building that I know of that was torn down. So, so there were adjustments made, but it was also noted in there any discrepancies. So, have to review this plan again in 5 years. We don't typically do huge updates every 5 years, but it is a living document. So, if we see something that we feel like needs to be corrected, and we'll try to do a better job of in between times, depending on what the development is that occurs, of making amendments to it or updates to it in the meantime between those 5-year required review periods. So, and the maps are also updated. That was a rather tedious, burdensome chore.
Okay.
So, but they should be at least fairly close to accurate now. And if we see any discrepancies, if you look through it and you see something that just doesn't look right as we're going through it, just shoot me an email or call me and let me know, and it may be something we can just correct without too much of an issue.
Well, I did read the entire thing minus the transportation part. I just couldn't. People can far smarter than me can read that part of it. But if you haven't read it yet already, it's a lot of good history, and it's a good way of looking at where we'd like to be. It's real. I think it's real interesting.
And the transportation part is pretty deep, but it is neat to see what the PDC put together as far as the maps go, especially the sidewalk map. I mean, everybody knows that we have issues with sidewalks, and we've been trying to get sidewalks corrected
I did see that part.
And so to see that list of that map that shows where sidewalks need to be, where they need to be corrected, and things like that, it's going to be very beneficial, hopefully, as we proceed forward, to try to get some of those sidewalks corrected and connected.
It does. I want to say I didn't read. I cruised through that part of it, but it did talk about how VDOT has their challenges on our roads because the roads aren't in the best of shape, according to the report that they did. So
I saw that a lot of the roads were considered in very poor condition.
Right,
I
the
was
secondary.
kind of surprised by that.
right, but
While we're talking about the condition of roads, you were with me when we had that meeting with VDOT up on East Riverside, I believe. We were talking to them about the condition of the roads in town and how they actually have a vehicle that drives around.
Oh, yeah,
and we've
yeah,
reported this before. They have a vehicle that drives around that has cameras on it, and as it goes along, it's software that's built into this program that looks at the road as they drive along and rates the road. So it's not just somebody going out there like we would do and look at the road and be like, oh, that looks like it needs to be.
So they no longer pick the roads. The camera tells them which ones they should be working on when they get their report back, is what I got out of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so the plan that you had attached to the original email you sent out, it was a PDF, so that, when you updated it on yours, it automatically updated it on that?
It's
Not on the PDF that you sent.
not on the one that I sent out.
Okay.
It's the one that I have online now would be the corrected version.
Okay,
And the corrections were things like the number of people in town was listed as 2,500 when it should have been like 2,936 or 2,986. Some of the equipment that Chris had gotten recently, like skid loaders and stuff, had to be added. I think the shelters, there's a couple things on the shelters and stuff that we had, we wanted to
The
add.
real estate tax rate was changed in one
Yeah.
location, but not another location.
It said effective rate of 10.5 when it's 11.5, that kind of, just little odds and ends, very small.
Yeah, the shelter numbers,
And the attached maps that you were talking
Yeah,
about, that were
yeah.
on the original draft, are on the online document.
yes. Mhm.
Okay,
And I can send you, I can email out, I'll email council, the newest version,
okay.
just so you have that. Actually, I'll print off everybody a hard copy because sometimes it's easier if you want a hard copy. It's just sometimes easier for that kind of document, or at least for me to look through it if I have it in my hand, instead of trying to,
I like a hard
you
copy.
sometimes, depending on where the maps are, it's, trying to reference, read something and then you can like stick your thumb in the book and look back and forth, whereas online or on the computer, sometimes it's a little bit harder to do. So I'll get hard copies out to everybody once it's approved.
Okay.
Well, well done, Planning Commission, thank you very much. I know you put, like AC said, years of work into this. So you get like a 3-year break, then you gotta start back up again. So I can turn over public hearing?
Yep, you can open up the public hearing.
Okay, open up the public comment. Anybody like to make any comment about the comprehensive plan? Seeing none, I'll close public comment. Now we need a motion from council, correct?
No.
No, oh, I'm sorry.
So
We
at this,
need these folks.
right, so at this point, if planning commission feels they need to, you can go out in the front and convene and come up with a recommendation, or since you're years on it, I'm assuming you're probably satisfied with it at this point, but planning commission will need to make a recommendation to the town council based off of the public hearing at this point.
Carl.
Well, and I think we feel comfortable recommending approval of the document as presented. The only caveat I would say is you mentioned the roads and the condition of some of the roads. I would say that 2 major parts of the roadways that were deemed very poor were being paved as that plan was being written by the CSPDC. So if you're just looking at sheer miles or percentage, that has changed dramatically because of the work that was done on 42 out here in front of Food Line and beyond.
Thank you. Okay, so we have a recommendation from the planning commission to approve. Do I have a motion by the council?
I'll make that motion to approve it as written.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, go around the room.
Yes.
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 Awesome, thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Okay, AC, Parks and Rec. I guess we got an update on the boat ramp as we're going, and I do know, Chris, you've ordered the trailer. We're going to, it looks like we discussed last council, I guess? Last council, we're gonna go instead of a fixed stage over at the other part, at American Legion, we're going with Newmarket's idea of a movable stage that we can move from American Legion to Memorial to wherever we want to have an event. Chris has ordered the trailer. I don't know when it's due in, but whenever.
April?
Mid to late April.
So whenever it's due in, he'll be designing us a stage off of this trailer. And we're also going to be ordering those speakers so we can, next event, we have a better sound system for our for an event, so you can actually hear more what's going on. So I think that's the only thing I really know right now that's going on.
What about the bathrooms?
The
That is,
bathrooms.
I'm gonna
Okay.
be talking to them tomorrow.
Okay.
We got the figures back for what it would take to prepare the area.
Okay,
So now we're working backwards on what amenities we can add to that
okay,
facility. If we can, to see what we can upgrade to, like the stainless, more durable fixtures and stuff.
okay.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
and the site work was very small. I think it was like $8,000. It was under $10,000,
Really?
whatever site work was, something like that. It wasn't that. It seems like they're a lot less complicated than they were. You just need a nice, level, compact surface to lay it on top of. It sounds like to us. But yeah, we want to get that ordered, and we'd like to get it, take Linda like to get it taken care of this budget, but we don't know about if that's gonna work or not. But, that's all I have for Parks and Rec. Anyone else? Okay, Finance AC, when are we gonna start our finance meetings again?
I don't know about this coming week, but maybe the following week. It's getting down to crunch time now anyway, so,
You need time to do your,
well, and that's what,
Your
once we got
presentation.
it's kind of knocked one thing off the desk and then something else can take its place, and so now the budget's there to take its place. I'll send out an email tomorrow, let everybody give me their availability for later this month.
okay. We should be
I've
able,
already talked to Chief about PD stuff, and I think Chris may have talked to me a little bit about, public works stuff, so, we'll do the recap, and we may even, depending on how quick we can get through the recap, we may even add a little bit more in there. But keep the meetings going
right,
pretty quick.
we should be able to do it in two, hopefully 2 meetings,
Yeah.
hopefully.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mayor, do you wanna mention?
Yes.
Dealing with ARPA funds?
Yeah,
What the game plan is with that?
well, you can go ahead and get, I mean, we received information from, is it DOJ?
Department of Criminal Justice Services.
Right.
So, from the Commonwealth. It's money coming from the federal government, monitored by the Treasury, dispensed to the Commonwealth. DCJS is then, allocating it to law enforcement agencies.
So, and basically what that ends up being is, chief has to submit a request, that, for the $153,000 that they're allocating to the town of Timberville.
Yes, sir.
So,
So basically, I have to submit a budget to them by March 24th saying, we want all of the money and this is what we plan on spending it on with, rough number budget. So, and I sent that information out in the email.
Right.
So as long as everyone is comfortable with that, we'll just go forward with the grant process and, I assume they will all go through as ARPA money's kind of, it's just a pipeline kind of deal. So if it goes through, it would be approved, May 11th is when they're saying there would be their, date of approval on that, the award date, that's what we're looking for.
and I know you and AC and Melinda will be working, we'll just roll that into the budget, so it's not that, and like you and I discussed, that unknown ARPA budget adjustment end of the year stuff, it'll be in there, we can just.
So whatever makes it easier for bookkeeping
I
for the
think
front
that-
office.
I think that'd make it easier.
But as long as everybody's comfortable with it, so move forward with the application and that use of the money to buy the 2 vehicles and the other equipment, Sergeant and I can finish that grant, application, get that put into DCJS, and then, things like vehicles, they're taking a long time, so as soon as the award is approved, I already have a vehicle basically with my name on it in a order form for Ford. So we just kinda have to, as slow as things are, I'd like to be able to order May 12th.
Can you tell everyone how much it,
So it's $153,000, basically, there was a lot, that came from the federal government to the Commonwealth for DCJS to disseminate between law enforcement agencies. The kind of project that they wanted aimed at is, DCJS feels that there's been an increase in violent crime since COVID, especially gun violence. So they would like it's all for equipment, so it can't be used for hourly rate or anything like that. And the equipment is to either reduce violence, especially gun violence, or to respond to violence, specifically gun violence. So we'll be able to should be able to replace 2 vehicles as response vehicles, which will put us in a position to not need to buy another vehicle in town, assuming nothing crazy happens, for probably 3 years, replace a black Charger, and that'll eat up the biggest portion of it. We'll buy some training equipment and whatnot with the rest of it.
Okay, thank you, Chief.
Yes, sir.
Personnel, Quentin, you're well spoken here.
Sure.
I'll let you take care of that part.
So for the Board of Zoning Appeals, we have a joint Board of Zoning Appeals with Broadway. Broadway has three, we have two. The three people in Broadway, their terms have expired. So Broadway Town Council's meeting was on Tuesday. They passed a resolution reappointing Doris Whitmore, Eddie Long, and Joan Shiflett to the BZA. We have to pass a corresponding resolution as Timberville to appoint those same people. From there, I'll work with Broadway's town attorney to go through the court process because they have to be appointed by the circuit court. So those of you that have been on council before are used to how we do this. Those that are new, it's a procedure in case anyone ever has a issue with a decision that our zoning administrator makes. They have due process. They go to this citizen board of zoning appeals to adjudicate their claim. If they're unhappy with the Board of Zoning Appeals, they want to go into the circuit court. That's why the circuit court has the power to appoint the Board of Zoning Appeals. So this is a somewhat wordy resolution, basically appointing those three people, us resolving to appoint those three people. So I don't feel the need to read it in full because it says the same thing three different ways, quite frankly. But basically it's just saying, here is resolved, the Town Council of Timberville does here appoint or recommend reappointment of Doris Whitmer, R. Edward Long, and Joan Shiflett. Ms. Whitmore's term would end on March 7th, 2026. Mr. Long's would be March 7th, 2026, and Ms. Shiflett's would be March 7th of 2027. So we just need a roll call vote, and then Melinda can attest to it as the clerk, and the mayor can sign it, and then we can put that together with the pleadings to send to the circuit court.
Is it in the form of a motion or just a roll call vote?
It should be a motion and second, and then a
Okay.
roll call vote.
Okay, I need a motion.
I'll make a motion to reappoint those three.
Do I have a second?
I'll second
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, roll call.
Yes.
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 it. Yes.
Thank you, sir. Okay, we're already down to the museum. Is your dad here today?
No, he's at home watching the baseball game.
See where his importance is.
Yeah, I'd be there too, but you only.
He's watching the basketball.
Okay,
Well, I had my time.
we'll get twice a report next time. Oh, I see
I
that.
see now.
Okay. I know Sharon has something now, because she's got some stuff coming up.
Yeah, Sunday we had the appraisal fair and we had 53 people. February had 122 visitors. Now, after COVID, bluegrass music will be every Sunday from 1 to 4. And the vintage market is April, and it's the 28th and 29th. And so we need to,
Yeah, so I sent that out, the request letter from the museum, sent that out about the
Yes.
business license requesting waiver of the business license fees for that event, for the vendors.
And as we know, we have the ability to waive the business license on these type of events. We do not have the ability to waive the meals tax on these kind of events. But we can waive the business license, so, I mean, it's a nonprofit organization, I think it's a,
And Sharon can tell,
Yeah.
I mean, tell them what it's doing, because, that it's,
well, we already have 20 people that, you know, have signed up for it. If people are renting out the stalls, then they have 10 feet out from that. We already have 2 food trucks, for it. And, I mean, if they're going to be there, they're going to go to Walmart, Food Line, you know, other places, so. We
And this-
really hope it's a good draw.
Yeah, and
Hope
this-
it's a good weekend.
and this event's gonna take place of the dinner dance, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
so
yes.
the dinner dance was the museum's big fundraiser
Yes.
each year. And so now they're trying this to.
And we're
take
trying
place.
other things also to make up for the dinner dance, because that's where we made our money.
You can still get the meals tax and any sales tax or anything else. The only thing this is doing is the business license.
business license.
Right, and it's because you normally to operate a business in the town, you have to get a business license and register your business. These people are only doing it for one day, so you're cutting out the paperwork for them to come into the town and operate a business.
And it's benefiting a nonprofit.
And it benefits a
Right.
nonprofit, right?
And this is something that we've done in the past, like with, Christmas Village, the
Mhm.
market, okay.
Exactly,
Okay.
the Christmas Village. Christmas Village is probably the main one we've done it with.
We did it for that, the original
Thing in the
time was
park.
one in the park,
Yeah, we-
that was the original, impetus to get that code changed.
Well, town events and nonprofits, I think that's really an intention.
That was the
For
intent
having
of
it.
it, right? Mhm.
So, okay, any questions? Then I need a motion if we want to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, do I have a second?
A second. Oh,
You go ahead.
Okay, we'll say Sarah on this one.
Sure.
Okay.
Rock, paper, scissors.
Any further discussion? Okay, you're on the room.
Yes.
Now, do I abstain?
You don't,
Yes.
I do.
Okay.
Yes.
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 Yes, you do.
Okay.
You
Thank
should.
I
You don't
should.
have to.
Okay.
Okay, other business. Council, you have anything else to discuss or bring forth at this time?
For those that may not be on Facebook, the scouts were here last month and heard a concern about shopping carts in town. And last weekend, I don't know, 6 or so of them got together and spent an hour or so Sunday afternoon picking up lost shopping carts and returns. So they did what they said they were gonna do.
Well, we're very thankful. Now, is it on a schedule, because you know?
They plan on keeping an eye on it, yeah. One of the scout masters like, we'll keep an eye on it, and we know the hot spots to check. When we start seeing a couple pop up there, it'll be time to do it again, so.
Yeah, I've never seen anyone pushing one down, but I see them around, so they're getting there somehow.
Yeah, it amazes me, they push them home and then can't push it back to us.
You walk back without it? Okay, any other business? Well, thank them for us.
Oh,
It's much appreciated. Public comment. We have a couple folks here. Anybody like to make any comment tonight? Okay, well, thanks everyone for being here. If you're not busy Saturday, come join us for the Rails and Trails. We want to hear your opinions. Very excited about the project. We've been working on it for at least 5 years now, if not longer, so hope to see you then. Thank y'all.